Welcome back to the Baseball Blue Book Podcast, where we focus on the journey, not the destination. Brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book app. Are you in the book? And now, your host, Eric Wobanaw. All right, back again, Baseball Blue Book. This is Eric. Excited to have the head coach with Washington College, Tom. Is it Fiala?
Yeah.
Okay. Tom, we've got a chance to get to know each other a little bit. Why don't you do a quick introduction?
Yeah, so my name is Tom Fiala, just like Eric said, and I'm the head coach here at Washington College. So we're on the eastern shore of Maryland, probably about like 45 minutes south of Philadelphia, Division III school in the Centennial Conference. So really high academic conference, high level of baseball, and just like I personally think a hidden gem on the less traveled side of Maryland that once people come down here, they love it down here and they don't want to leave.
That's awesome. Hey, and also we want to make sure that we announced that you are the new head coach. Just got announced in August, so congratulations on that, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's good to be home.
That's great. Well, hey, I think that's a great place to start. We talked a bit about kind of your past and where you came from, but that's one of the things that we focus on on the podcast is really the journey. And so why don't we go ahead and begin with the journey, and let's start back at when you were in high school and what made Washington College your choice when you wanted to go to school there.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town, New Hope, Pennsylvania. So it's about 45 minutes north of Philadelphia. Like I went to a school of, I think it was 400 total in the high school, surrounded by giants, the Central Bucks system, the Council Rock system. And we were just this little tiny school that we were pretty darn good at baseball back then, and still have been to this day. So during the whole college search process, it was completely different than it is today. And like I think about trying to go to a showcase as a player, and I get like hives thinking about like doing well in front of all these college coaches. But yeah, so like I had a dad who had gone through this process before with my brother, who was a little older than me, about 9 years older, and we were looking at a bunch of schools in the area, and he had mentioned Washington College was this like awesome school down in Maryland that my brother had visited and really liked. He didn't end up going there. He ended up going down to Randolph-Macon down in Virginia. But like he said, like he really enjoyed it, thought it was a cool spot, thought it was a lot like New Hope. And he knew that I enjoyed the, like I wasn't a big city guy. I was more of a country guy. And I like to be out in the water on the like fishing and like being outside and doing all that stuff. And so I went down to visit, met with Coach Streelman, who was the head coach at the time, long time coach there. Really, like so much of what has been built today is because of Coach Streelman. And met with him, got to see the facilities, the school, and everything. And it just kind of, it felt like a fit. It was a natural fit. And it wasn't too much longer after that they were playing Muhlenberg, I believe. I went up to watch them play Muhlenberg, and they clinched a playoff berth for the first time in a very long time. And right after that, I was like, you know what, I'm in. I'm going to Washington College, and we were off and running from there.
That's great. Couple points that you make, and you hear it a lot with the coaches, is having the program that you want to go to a good fit. Expand what I mean. You expanded a little bit on it. You know, it's kind of the rural area, outdoors. That was kind of what you wanted to do. Smaller school, something that you went. Talk about really expand on the importance of finding a good fit. Just as a head coach and as you're talking to other players today.
Yeah, so one of the big things, like anytime someone comes to campus right now, so many times, like, and this is like a family decision. So much of all these college choices leaving the nest and going to play college baseball, it's all about finding the right fit. Like you look around and you see 3,000 people in the transfer portal. You find people going all over the place. And you hear terrible stories where they just fell out of love with
Yeah.
baseball. And that's my biggest fear. And I want to build a program here, not just win 1 or 2 years, but build a program to where we're successful in year 1, 5, 10, and 15. So finding the right fit is almost as important as telling you all the bad things, and not bad things, but things that maybe are
Yeah.
polarizing. We are out in rural Eastern Shore, Maryland. If you're looking for a Philadelphia or a suburban or a Baltimore, New York vibe, Washington College isn't the place for
Right.
you. But if you're someone who's like, hey, I love being on the Chesapeake Bay, I love being on the river, I love outdoors, like I love a small college town that's just like when I think of college movies and like all that like nostalgic stuff, I think of a small town like that
Right.
where Chestertown is just awesome. And it's all about the right fit and the right fit from a coaching standpoint. And like, because, and I hear a lot of people talk about like, hey, go to somewhere where if you took baseball away, you'd be happy. And I think that's awesome. But so much of like the choices that all and that everyone's making is baseball motivated. Like that, like so much of our guys, I don't know if they're at Washington College or they get the introduction to Washington College
Yeah.
without baseball. So knowing that, like, hey, I'm going to be here for 4 years. You know that this is the program that you're going to fit into. Know that we're going to be impactful in the community. We're going to be an impact on the campus community, impact on like the athletic department, and just know that all that's going to be important for the next 4 years is stuff that like I want everyone to know. And the minute that they don't like want to be a part of that, that's fine. Go find the right fit somewhere else and stay there.
Yeah.
Love that place. But all of our guys that come here, I harp on fit and I want them to be like, I want them to be shoremen for the 4 years and then the 40 years after that and the 50 years after that, coming back to an alumni. Like this weekend, we have our
Hmm.
alumni game. And I hope to see as many past, like, couple years graduated all the way to 1960s graduated. So I'm excited for that. And that's what the right fits is all about. Is like you want to come back and be a part of the program for years and
I
years
think
to
that
come.
that's a great way of putting it, right? What you know, when you ask somebody what does the right fit mean, it means when you're 60, you're still coming back because it was a perfect
100%.
fit for what you did, and it helped really develop who you were. You made a comment there of kids possibly falling out of love with the game, something that we haven't talked about on this program enough. And I think this is a personal experience as well. So why don't you share a little bit about playing and getting to that point of not really sure that this is really what you want to do long term.
Yeah, so like I mean, this is probably the beginning of my coaching journey. This is like the when you watch a superhero movie, this is like the down point in the movie where you're like, oh no, is he going to survive? And I would say like my probably the end of my junior year and into my senior year, it was like a chore to come to the field. I felt like, and this is like it's hard to say without saying negative about like some of the stuff that was going on
Right.
because I don't like thinking about that sort of stuff. But it just wasn't a fun experience at the time, and it was nothing like I loved my friends. I loved playing the game of baseball, but everything around the game was hard. It was difficult. It was if you don't do well, the thought process after the game or if you make one little mistake that you may find yourself on the bench forever and it just wore on me over time and like the like short story was having
Yeah.
fun and that's the name of the game and like I think you hear so many coaches talk about like the great experiences they had with great coaches and great environments that were built. And so much of what I do is trying to create the environment that I didn't have leaving college. And that has probably stuck with me the longest. Like, we're going to have a ton of fun every single time we step on the field. We're going to to work really hard off the field, but when we step on the field, know that the confidence and the routines and all the stuff that we did off the field comes out, and we're going to play our butts off and have fun, and whatever the scoreboard says, the scoreboard says. But yeah, it was definitely a rough point, and like so much that like when I graduated from college and graduated from Washington, I wanted no parts of being a coach. Never thought I would be a coach, and then it took Coach Vlahovic at New Hope Soulbury, who kind of dragged me out of the fire and showed me the light of being a coach, and showed me like, hey, this is, you get to make this what like you want it to be, and you get to create the environment, you get to like do all these things and impact all these lives. And then the whole everything
Yeah.
changed. It was, my whole life just flipped on its side, and like it was baseball, baseball, baseball. Just like when I was 12 years old again. Like that's like I thought back to Little League, playing wall ball and playing all this sort of stuff. That's what I like about coaching, is it brings me back to the purest part of baseball, which is just fun. Let's have fun every single day.
That's a great way of putting it, because so many coaches are talking about, we've got to bring the fun back to these players, because what's going on today is there's so much pressure. There's so many areas, there's travel ball, there's elite status. I mean, you hear kids 14, 15, 16 talking about them elite this, elite that. Well, there's a lot of pressure that comes along with that for these kids that, you know, fundamentally baseball should be fun, not that grind that sounds like you went through. So you mentioned a coach that kind of helped you bring back the love of the game. What were some of the things that he shared with you, or was it really just a way that you kind of opened your eyes to being back to 12 years old again?
Yeah, so I think there's a bunch of things that go along with that. Is like you have the team that we were involved with and the coach that we were involved with. But I'll say the greatest thing about Coach V is his involvement with the Special Olympics, and he's the head coach for the New Jersey Special Olympics team. I believe back then they won gold in the Paralympics, and so like he was involved in the purest form of
Absolutely.
baseball, which was someone just enjoying, and like you were with people that like, hey, they didn't have the natural ability that so much of the guys that we were coaching, but they were having a
Yeah.
blast. They just enjoyed it. And you saw this really cool side of baseball or sports in general, life in general, that you never saw before, that like these men, young men, old men, like young like
Yep.
guys that like they were given a raw deal, and with the minute they stepped out on a baseball field, all of it
Yep.
went away, and it was beautiful. And it that, if I look back to like, hey, that right there. And then he just made baseball fun. Like it was all about it. Like he has this he works with, I can't remember if it's his, I believe it's his, I could be wrong here, but Base Able is something that he works a lot with, and it's really just getting baseball into everyone's hands,
Yep.
and that's the goal. So that, I would say, that's, if I look back on one thing, um, showing me that it's a blessing to play baseball. It's a blessing to coach baseball. Like I could get to show up to a field every day and hit a fungo or throw VP or talk about like pitching and talk like, that's awesome. It's so cool when I think
Yeah.
about it. So many people that would wish to be doing that. Um, I get to do it, and I
Uh,
think that's the biggest thing, is I got to see just how truly special the gift I was given. And it took longer. It took past playing to figure it out, but we got there, and now I know I'm on the right track with everything we're doing.
That's awesome. What are a couple of things that you're doing to really solidify kind of that mission, that passion that you have to the program? I mean, it's brand new to you. You get to do, like you said, you can do whatever you want to do. You can create whatever program that you want. What are a few of those things as you're making these notes? And I'm sure you've got it. You've probably whiteboarded it out. You've made, a lot of notes as far as what you're going to do. What are a few of those things that really you want to be kind of the cornerstones of your program?
Yeah, so I mean, we. I was lucky enough to also coach with a coach the last 4 years. Yes, 4 years that gave like he empowered his assistant coaches. So much of what we have done the last handful of years was all of our inputs, and I think it
That's cool.
showed in this. Yeah, so like coach or Corey Beddick, who's now at Gettysburg, like you're not gonna like he's a competitor now in our conference. You're never gonna hear me say a bad word about the Bullets program, even though they are going to be direct competitors, just because of how special of a person he is. And he empowered us, like all of us, down to some of our volunteer assistants, to like, how do we adjust this? How do we do everything? Like, how can we make this better? And it wasn't about him. It wasn't about me. It was just about us. So I think some of the stuff that are going to be pillars for what we do is have been pillars for years, and it's don't change the system that wasn't broken. But I will say, like, hey, we're going to create an environment to where we want you to be you, and nothing short of that. We're not trying to fit you into a certain system. We're not trying to fit you into a cookie cutter mechanical approach, but we're trying to take the best version of you and create that into the best baseball player you can be. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna blast the music real loud. We're gonna let the program be the players. Like like everyone always talks about like the head coach is like the face of the program. I disagree. I think it's the 35, 40 guys that you look up on a roster, and they're the face of the program. So let's let them dictate this a little bit within reason, of course. But like it's inject fun into everything, create competitive environments. Every bullpen, like we have two bullpens right next to each other. Every bullpen should be competing against someone else. Every time we step up to bat during BP, like there should be a goal. There should be a mindset involved. I'm big into mental training. Like how can we make that fun? Like like so much of that is like monotonous and it needs to be, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But learning how to do that provides success. And so there's so much of it. Like we love the weight room. I think that's, if you ask our guys, like, what is your favorite place on campus? I hoped they would say the library or the baseball field. But most of them would probably say the weight room. And that's what we want to be. We want to be big, strong, fast. We want to hit balls really far. We want to throw balls hard. And we want to invest in technology and do all the things that make baseball fun and make baseball interesting for this day and age. And this may change too. And that's part of it, is like being adjusted. Like I'm the old guy at 30 on our coaching staff. So we're primed for adjusting, changing, pushing the envelope. Like we're going to change. My goal is to change, like the way we're going to go about playing baseball this year is different than I think I've heard of one other school do it, and I loved it. And we're going to try it and see how it goes. And it's worked a lot in the fall. So yeah, so I think we're just pushing the envelope every single time, which is fun. Like people want to be involved in.
That's awesome.
Pushing the envelope and changing the way. Like my goal is someone to like steal something from us. I want to be the pioneer, and maybe we're going to get it wrong 5 times before we get it right once. But we'll do it together. We'll figure it out together.
Kind of a Savannah Banana type feel.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if we'll be going up in stilts and with kilts and stuff, but you know what? We're gonna
have fun.
We're gonna push the envelope as much as we can.
You know, Tom, I what I hear coming from you, one is absolute passion, and probably the second, more importantly, is the excitement. You seem to have, didn't know you when you were 12, but that excitement that you had at 12 to go to the ball field, I think this is probably what it was like, right? You seem to have really found that joy again, and it comes across in everything that you say. And I'll tell you what, I wish I was younger. I'd probably make Washington College one of my preferred schools to go check out. If
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And you know what? It's a prerequisite for everyone we bring in. Coaches, players, our secondary staff, who are the most important people, like more important than anyone, like any one coach.
Mhm.
Our secondary staff, our head athletic trainer, Matt On, is a baseball nut. Our head strength and conditioning coach, Josh, is a baseball nut. And it feeds into itself, and you get this environment that's like,
Yeah,
hey, let's get better, let's have fun, let's do this together, and like create this little family environment. And it's just awesome to come to every single day. Like
I
it's
think
you can't ask for a better environment.
no, I think that's fantastic. It's really the focus. I guess going back to those few things that maybe the cornerstone is really the fun of the game and bringing. There's a reason why we never stopped playing when we were kids. It wasn't because we were forced. It was because we loved it and we wanted to be out there doing it as much as we possibly could. And we've lost a little bit about a little of that. I hear it from all the time. I talked to Coach Nyman, and I think you know Tim Nyman.
Yep.
He was talking about it, just the sandlot and just the old days when you could throw a game together and there weren't any coaches or adults around and you had to drag the kids from the field, right? The parents had to drag them away and say it's time to come in.
Yeah, and you know what? It's like I think great programs, especially at the Division 3 level, because you have the regulations, you have
Yep.
certain things that are holding you back from development with a coach or whatnot. Like, sure, they could be in the weight room with our strength coaches all the time, but not baseball wise. All our guys are addicted to the baseball, like addicted to baseball. Like they're in the gym, they're in the weight room, or they're in the cages, they're on the field, and like they feed that environment. And like I just got to get out of the way,
That's awesome.
let them play baseball, help them whichever way they need to. Um, Put my input here and there, but like get out of the way and let the boys play.
That's great. Great. That's fantastic. I'm excited to watch your program and see how it works. Hopefully, you don't need five changes to make it successful, right? But I think that's a great attitude of, what, we're going to try some things. We're gonna mix some things up. I think that's awesome. And it's shout out, I think, to the people that you work for, allowing you to kind of have that freedom to say, hey, let's build this program and what you want to do. Good transition over to your program. I always like to ask the coaches to this is your opportunity to kind of brag on the school, brag on your program. We've heard so much about it already, so we appreciate that. But why don't you take, if I had a kid, 16, 17-year-old kid, and we were looking for preferred schools and somebody that we'd like to reach out to, why is Washington College something or a place that they really should consider?
Yeah, so I think there's a thousand different reasons, but there's like that for every school. So what makes you different?
Yep.
I think at Washington College you're going to get this balance of high quality baseball. We're playing the Centennial Conference, which I mean, if you look across top 25 rankings, just like every single year, you're going to find one, if not two, sometimes three teams in the top 25, top 30 in the country. You're facing some of the best players in like I'm trying to think, we've had a guy in AA. Haverford had a guy in AA and the bigs. Hopkins is a guy in AAA with the Mets, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but it's not you're giving up this dream of playing professional baseball by going to a Division 3 school.
Right.
You're playing against top tier competition
Yep.
on a daily basis. And then the other side of that is you're getting a dynamite education. And while baseball is a driving, motivating factor for so many of our guys, the fact of the matter is 4 years, sometimes 5 years, they're done.
Yeah.
What degree do you leave with? How do you set yourself up for the next 40 years of your life to have success, to be a good dad, to be a good husband, to be just a good person? And I think Washington College fits the bill with all of that. Beautiful setting, like if you have a chance, check out the field online because it is smack dab in the middle of campus with Bermuda grass, natural Bermuda grass. We got the sorority houses in center field that
It's awesome.
if you're a strong hitter, you're peppering the houses out there. I've always said I think we should have an alarm that we set off for BP. Like we have an assistant coach right now who graduated in 2020, put a ball during BP in the window of a girl's dorm room, and she came out all angry. I was like, "Hey, you decided to live there. Like, we can't do anything about it." But like, it's fun. It's a fun environment. I equivalent it to like a mini SEC environment. We
It's
have
awesome.
our student section out in like left field. They call it the park is Athey Park, but the left field is called Atheyville. They'll bring out couches. You'll see some college activities out there, and they make it a really cool environment to play. And the other thing I think is like there's a high priority on athletics at Washington College. There's a history of just national championships across other sports, which gives me pause. It's like, hey, they did it. Why can't we?
Yep.
Um, Great facilities, and and I hate talking about our coaching staff because it's not about us, but we have a coaching staff and assistant coaches really that are just awesome people, like great baseball minds that, like I said earlier, we're pushing the envelope. But the biggest selling factor is our guys.
Yep.
Like there's no doubt in my mind, like you come to practice and you hang out with our guys, you're not going to want to leave. Like they're the best type of people. And I think it makes my job fun, makes it easy to recruit to because like you hang out with those guys, you're gonna want to be a shoreman for a long, long time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What are some of the majors that are the focus there at Washington College?
Yep. So on the baseball team, you're going to find 65% business or some sort of business econ. The really bright ones do the dual major business econ, but not many can go down that, but the really bright ones do. And like we've had some really cool guys leave really cool job opportunities after with the business degree here. I think it's one thing that stacks up against almost any school in the country. And I think some of the really cool ones we have are our science degrees: physics, environmental science, biology,
Awesome.
chemistry.
Awesome.
Some of our really hard classes. Like I always try and tell you guys, if you have organic chemistry, I've seen it. I've seen people go spiraling down in the library, like to try and take it in the fall. It's a lot easier in the fall. We don't have to worry about baseball practice and getting back from Dickinson at midnight. So they're really cool. Like we're right on the river. We're right on Chester River. Environmental science is like
Awesome.
is something they're really diving into. Just built a brand new environmental science center. It's like pumps. It's like 105% efficient, so it pumps all like the fuel or whatever, I don't know, power back into the grid. Really cool.
That's awesome. That's great.
And then we've had some pre-law, pre-med. Like we've had just in the last year, we have off the guys who graduated last year. We have a guy at UPenn Law, Elon Law, UVA Law. So like some really cool spots that set them up. Like they got the foundation at Washington College.
That's
So
great.
so yeah, now there's a lot of different avenues at a liberal arts school, but it's there's some really cool. I think those are the big ones that you see a lot with our team,
Okay.
and you see a lot of success past their 4 years with them.
Good. That's awesome. That's great. I appreciate it, Coach. Talk just as we're wrapping up here. Give me some insight into next year. What are you thinking?
Oh, it's going to be interesting. I'll tell you that much. So we graduated 19 guys
Ooh,
in the spring.
okay.
Yeah. So we had our first team meeting in what was it, September, and I look out and I see all these faces. I'm like, I'm at a new school. I felt like I was at a different place. And then of course we had some familiar faces, but we're going to be young. It's going to be fun. We're going to be young. I think it's a great way to be able to push that envelope because there's no prerequisite, no like things in their mind, things of the way they think they should play baseball.
Yeah.
Let's test the boundaries now, and I think it's going to be like some really talented players out there. We're definitely going to go through our growing pains, and I think anyone that thinks otherwise with a team that is this young is like naive. Because a lot of them never played college baseball, and learning how to play college baseball is half the battle.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna like I know for one fact that we will compete our butts off, and I can almost guarantee you, no matter what the standings look like at the end of the year, no one's going to want to mess with the Shoremen come conference play. So I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's a great group to hop on board with for the next couple of years because they're just going to grow and get old together. And boy, I can't wait to see what this group looks like, and not just 6 months from now, but a year and a half, 2 years. That's what really excites me, that this group is just going to grow, keep growing, get better together, and just have a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Win a lot of baseball games.
That's great. No, that's fantastic. You pointed that out early on. You wanted to build a program for the 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and really building that foundation is key. Coach, has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you jumping on with me. And you had mentioned Corey Beddick over at Gettysburg. I've actually got a podcast lined up with him as well. So it's fun to talk to people.
I'll tell you all the bad things to ask about him.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, when we put it on YouTube, I'll let you guys kind of comment on each other's episode and see who wins. I always do this as a challenge. I think I've got, AJ Weller. Do you know AJ?
Well, which
hold on. AJ Miller. I'm sorry.
Oh, at Lafayette. Now at Lafayette.
Yep,
oh, yeah,
at Lafayette. So he's winning right now with the number of downloads. And I messaged him with a couple of other coaches, and everybody said, "Oh, we got to get this out." This has been, but it's so much fun. You guys are all just the excitement. I've had a couple of guys that have been around for 30, 35 years. It just never goes away. So I'll tell you, if there's something about coaching college ball, you guys are a unique group of people that have a huge responsibility in really you guys are creating, you're developing men, the next leaders, the next guys that are going to be kind of doing the things that we need to be done. And we, really, it's a shout out to you guys and what you do and the sacrifices that you make. And so we really appreciate that. And again, congratulations for the head coaching position. Tons of responsibility, but you are an exciting guy. I really, really enjoyed this episode.
I appreciate it. This has been fun.
Hey, if there's anything we can do, let me know. But I'll look forward to following your career, your program success, and make sure to share and like and comment on these podcasts. It's what we're just excited to get this message out. Sir, appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Go Shoremen.
Go Shoremen. All right, sounds good.